Okay, let us continue with the talk on the Dukkhānupassanā. Now, today's Monday. Now, on Thursday, not Thursday, last week Monday, sorry. On last week Monday, we were talking about the Dukkhānupassanā from the point of dukkha dukkha and viparinama dukkha. That is to say, the painful type of dukkha, and the second one is dukkha due to change. Now tonight we also want to touch a little bit upon that also, because sometimes when it comes to the different aspects of dukkha, then yogis or some yogis may have difficulty to able to withstand the pain or the unpleasantness or the uncomfortableness and many other things. We're going to look from the practical aspect of it. So let's see, what did I talk about? Hold on, let me see my notes. Okay, hold on. Back again. Okay. All right. So here, you see, that day we talk about dukkha dukkha, painful feeling, viparinama dukkha, dukkha due to change. Here, just to remind you all again that the nature of dukkha, we go back to its characteristic again. Further later on, hold on. Okay. Now we go back to the bit of this characteristic. Now dukkha here again, these are the 5 aggregates. 5 aggregate is dukkha, 5 aggregate is anatta, 5 aggregate is anicca. Characteristic of dukkha. Now the characteristic here is the word oppression. Oppression here due to the momentary arising and passing away of formation of objects. Now here meaning that when we look at the deepest aspect of dukkha, that means it's the arising and passing away, the oppression that comes together with it. Now, Dukkhānupassanā is the observation part on these characteristics of the oppression. Now that oppression, it's difficult to note because the nature of the mind is that we do not want to see anything that is unpleasant. We want to see, we want to have comfortableness and so on and so forth. Oh, not this one. Now, when we look at, when we look at, where is my viparina? Yeah, this one. Now, when we look at this dukkha dukkha, the painful dukkha, then normally you associate with dukkha, which is right in a certain sense now. But most of the time that when we look at this painful dukkha, many times the yogi are not doing anupassana or Dukkhānupassanā. Okay? They are not observing the dukkha as they are supposed to be noted. And when we don't observe it as Dukkhānupassanā and you just grit your teeth, thinking that you are meditating, then for a long period of time, when that habits become strengthened, that bad habit becomes strengthened, and also when nobody tells you, then your part will be just gritting the teeth and just press the mind onto it, and you're actually not noting it. It's just more like tolerating it. So if you are doing that, that is not Dukkhānupassanā. And also, when it comes into the painful feelings and so on, sometimes we are being taught to Don't watch the painful feelings. What for you come to a retreat and then you go for all these painful feelings? In a retreat, you're supposed to come and relax yourself, get rid of all your stress and so on. And then we buy into those ideas or those concepts. So whenever the dukkha comes in, any form of pain that comes in, then we do not want to see it. And when we do not want to see it, we try to move about. We change our position, we change our postures. Then when we do that, then the nature of dukkha, not even observing, but the nature of dukkha itself is not right in front of you. So the thing here is that in the text, in the commentary, it is mentioned that the concealment of dukkha is because we change our postures all the time, or we fidget and so on. We fidget, we move it a little bit, just for us not to see the true nature of dukkha, or we just don't want to go face to face with the dukkha. And this time is the unpleasant feelings. The unpleasant feelings in the various parts of the body or even the mind. So we change these postures in many ways in order for us to conceal the dukkha. Now, of course, some of us may have seen, those people with, ill and then or sickness, then they cannot able to move their body, they lie down on the bed, and then if you lie down for too long, then there will be a lot of bed sore. And bed sore can be a big problem if you don't shift the person around here and there. Yes, it can create that. But here we are not, when we meditate now, we are not one to push you until you have whatever sore in your buttock and so on, But there may be going to be a little bit. They're going to be a little bit. When it comes to vipassana meditation, even you take up just 1 hour walk, 1 hour sit, now you have to be brave enough that sometimes the pain that, let's say, is in the buttock, and after a while, that pain, if you repeated sitting after sitting, hour after hour, and then when the pain arises at the same place, then every hour you are noting at the same place, then that type of pain can become a physical pain. And sort of like you may have a little bit of sore in the buttock. But that is minor, very, very minor. This is part and parcel of the vipassana a little bit. So it's okay for you to have this type of pain a little bit here and there. More or less, you just take a balm or whatever, go and rub on it. Sometimes it can come up in the sore muscle. Sometimes the knees become sore. Sometimes the neck becomes sore, and so on. So these are part and parcel of the meditation, and you should not be discouraged by it. In fact, that you should learn to have confidence in the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha, and go through all these things and keep on doing the meditation. Not just a little bit of pain and a little bit of difficulty. You want to pack up your bags and go back already. Don't do that, Retreat sooner or later is going to open up already. So, and that, you're going to face this type of pain if you really want to practice this vipassana, deeply and thoroughly. You cannot run away from it because this is part of the whole satipatthana thing. If somehow or another, when you come into the beginning of your development, and every time you do not have any pain, everything, every day, your meditation is just easy, nothing much. Then when you don't have any much pain, for me, I will start thinking that there's something wrong with you already. Not something wrong. It's not something that you're mentally wrong, but something to do with your noting mind, that you are not truly make the mindfulness continuous and clear and precise noting, or even that your walking meditation is not doing well. That means that the one of the aspect, the pain, which is one of the things that you are supposed to pay attention, is not arising. It's not there. And if you really do your meditation, you see that all of us will go through pain. I would say 99%, that 1% is maybe your karma. I don't know what karma you have, don't know what good karma you have, but I don't think that you are in that 1%. For most of us, that is going to be in this 99%. And this, in fact, this dukkha, and for you to observe the true nature of dukkha, the observation part, that is that, as I said again, your concentration, your mindfulness has to be at the optimum level. Then only you able to notice the different pain, the different types of pain, heart pain, pulling pain, head pain, neck pain, here pain, there pain. Then only you can notice this type of pain. If not, you will be struggling only. You'll be struggling. Now, a lot of us, perhaps a lot of you may know how to meditate, which is good. But sometimes, although we know how to meditate, but when it comes to a limit where the pain becomes overwhelming, that is where your mindfulness and your concentration starts to become very shaky. Shaky in the sense that it comes in many ways. One of the ways is that you want to get rid of the pain already right now. You want to get rid of the pain. You do not want to see the pain. And you want to get rid of the pain. The mind tricks you in many ways. The mind tricks you about what is the time right now. How come the bell is not ringing yet? Then, or sometimes it tricks you is that, so am I supposed to open up the eyes or not? Or maybe it tricked you in the sense that, should I move the buttock a little bit only? You bargain with yourself, You bargain with yourself just a little bit, just the one. So sometimes not only that, but sometimes you notice the pain. You notice the pain initially was well. You're able to see the changes, getting more, getting less, in that sense. But after a while, when it becomes overwhelming, the mind, as if like it doesn't want to see. It goes into like thinking of other things. Thinking of other things, like for example, in your past, it just want to completely, the mind want to ignore the whole thing which is right in front of you. So when you do that, the mind, the mindfulness already, in a way cut off. The defilements already crept in. The craving has already crept in, or the little aversion already crept in during that particular time. So you have to take note. If your mindfulness, you're able to regain back that mindfulness, then you bring the attention back again to notice the pain until your time is up. That is really important. Until the time is up. And also, I also mentioned a little bit also on last week, Monday, that in order for us to sit with the pain, especially when it comes with the pain, and make sure that your walking meditation, you do it well. And especially the third phase, or the slowest phase of walking meditation. When you do that slow phase of walking meditation, while you're doing it, you pay attention to it. And then after that, bring the whole mindfulness that you have developed, the continuous mindfulness, the continuous concentration that is developed also, then bring it over to the sitting. And then after that, you will see that the sitting, you can actually able to withstand the pain without running away from the pain, without rejecting the pain, and your mind can able to stay with the pain, observe the pain, getting more, getting less, and so on. And you feel that you actually could do the meditation. You could feel that you could do the meditation. and you feel good, and the confidence come up. With that also, not only that, the nature of the pain itself, because it is a prominent object, it's a very prominent object, and you pay attention to it, that the more that you pay attention to it, the more that your mindfulness builds up, the more continuous mindfulness builds up. And with that, it goes back to all your other objects, your rising, falling, your in-breath, out-breath, your sensation of the body, or even the mind object becomes magnified. When it becomes magnified, you can able to see more and more anupassana, more and more object that is changing, that is this and that, and different characteristics of the object. So don't run away from all this pain. You may be taught in your own meditation for whatever meditation that you have gone through, but in vipassana, you have to deal with the painful feelings. Now, even sometimes the walking meditation also, during the walking meditation, not to say that you don't experience dukkha here and there, no. It may comes up also once in a while, but not as often as a sitting meditation. But nevertheless, when it arises, when this type of different sensation, like for example, you walk after a while, then you notice that your leg, there's a lot of tension in the muscle. There's a lot of tension in the muscle. You don't try to go and shake the leg or shake all the pain away just because you want to do the lifting, pushing, dropping properly, That pulling pain, that pulling the soreness of that muscle becomes part of your meditation. Become part of the whole meditation. That means if that thing becomes a prominent object, then you're supposed to note it. You don't go and stop and then say, rub the muscle a little bit, rub. Oh, come on already. Then only you start lifting, pushing, dropping again. No. So a lot of us, we do that. We thought that we want to see the dukkha in the sitting only, but not in the walking. That means you are already, again, you are concealing the true nature of dukkha. Now, even sometimes, you do your lifting, pushing, and dropping. And at times, when you for example, when you lift up, and then you go into somewhere in the middle of the pushing, then the toes starts to tighten up. Like for example, it's tighten up, and then you also at that same time, you're not supposed to go and kick your leg or swing your leg and just to drop the tightness. You're supposed to note that tightness. You're supposed to note those tightness. And again, when you note any form of the dukkha, any form of this painful feeling, first of all, you must not note on it that you want to make it go away. The moment you want to make it go away, that means behind it, you're seeking for something pleasant. You're seeking for something pleasant. That means you want to get rid of that pain. You want something pleasant to come after the pain. Dukkhānupassanā is supposed to abandon the perception of pleasant. And yet, right now, sometimes just our mindfulness, just a little bit out of it, the craving just managed to come in. It just tells you that, okay, not until it ends. Which is not. We are not supposed to like that. When you want the thing, that means there's some craving is there. You're supposed to note it. Whether it ends or not, that's up to it. Not what you want. There's two different things here. Because a lot of us, we want the pain to end. We want to note the pain and then to want to make it end. You are not supposed to do like that. The pain is supposed to, you note it until your time is up. If before the time is up, it disappears, well and good, go to another object. If it doesn't disappear, if let's say you sit down, the moment you start the sitting meditation and you finish that 1 hour of sitting meditation and the whole time pain, then pain will be your main object. So these are the nature of the Dukkhānupassanā in terms of, in terms of painful feelings. When it comes into the this one, where is it? Viparinama dukkha. And as I said, that this viparinama dukkha is dukkha due to change and is connected with a lot of these pleasant feelings. Now here, when these things arises, it has a lot of pleasant feelings and also sometimes neutral feelings. Now, as I said, take for example number 2. When you take note of this number 2, when especially at this time, when at the third insight and the tender fourth insight, so in between third and fourth insight, this upakilesa will come at the optimum level. Doesn't mean that they don't come after the fourth or fifth or sixth, they will still come, but there's a difference. But anyway, what you are supposed to do with all these things is that now when joy arises, tell yourself, joy already arising. Sometimes you got to tell yourself, don't get attached to it. Don't get attached to it. This is just a phenomenon to be noted. And then after that, you bring your attention back to the joy and note joy, 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 and see how the joy expanding, getting more, is getting less, and so on. Now, when you are noticing that joy getting more or getting less, and then it change and so on, then anicca-nupassana is happening at that moment of time, which is good. If it's happening in that way, then you note it in that way. Fine. But there are times, this joy still remain as joy, but the noting mind on the joy can become oppressive, dukkha. For example, you note the joy as getting more, as it's getting changed. After a while, the mind is like, kind of like, oh, I kind of like, you do not want to get too attached to the joy. Your mind wants to kind of like pull away from the joy, and then you find that the joy is not pleasant anymore. It kind of like that oppressiveness starts to eat into you. And then it happens in that way, then that it turns into a little bit of Dukkhānupassanā. So it's perfectly all right if it change into that way, because not all the time the piti or the sukha or pasadi, although in their own nature and their own characteristic, it's pleasant, but the mind that noting it's oppressive a little bit. So the same thing. So with all this same thing, and you begin to see the change in this nature, all this like your joy or your bliss or your happiness and so on. When you're able to notice that is wonderful. Now, this upakilesa, it also, you cannot say it's upakilesa. Upakilesa is only when it comes with when you delight into it. Later on, when you go into a higher, deeper insights, this type of tranquility, bliss, joy still comes in. But that time, because of your nature of your noting mind is sharp and strong, then that time the craving or the nikanti or the delight, number 10, doesn't come in. Those time you will see this nature of joy as just arising and passing away. And when you see this joy as just arising moment after moment, then that time you don't feel that you want to get attached to it. So automatically the mind doesn't want to attach to it. It's just noted as just another object. Even the bliss arises, even which is more deeper than the nature of the joy, then even when it arises, you just see it as arising and passing away only. And it's good. When you do that, that means the penetration of the mind has gone into a bit more, much more deeper. So these things still come in, Doesn't mean that Upasa, Piti, Sukha, Passaddhi don't come in even at the Arahant level. Arahant level they still have, Arahant level still have Upatthana, strong mindfulness, definitely. They have Jnana, they have exertion, they have all these things except number 10. So for most of us, if we are just in the stage of beginning, then there is can be a big problem with this. Because, as I said many times in the past, initially when you develop your vipassana meditation, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of unpleasantness. Now, when you go up a little bit more higher, then a lot of pleasantness is coming in. So if you don't fall into that, you fall into another one. So that also, you fall into the nature of pleasant feelings. So, all right. Now we go into this next one, Sankhara Dukkha. Sankhara Dukkha is even more, a little bit more difficult to understand. But I'll slowly guide you through it. If you have a deeper aspect of the meditation, then well and good. But if you don't have it, just get your mind ready. Sooner or later, this thing will come if you meditate. All right, okay. Now, when you say Sankhara Dukkha, we want to go in a little bit more deeper, especially when this Sankhara Dukkha becomes quite a prominent thing. Now, Sankhara Dukkha also happens when you're in the third insight or fourth insight also, but they are not so much. They are not so much. They are a little bit here and there. Because of your mindfulness is clear, but it's not so impactful yet. They are there. But when you go into the insight of, let me see which one. Hold on. Okay. You go to the knowledge of the 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. That is where the Sankhara Dukkha becomes strong. And sometimes not only the Sankhara Dukkha strong, but all the three Dukkha becomes very clear to the yogi. But of course, that time you don't think of it, which one is Sankhara Dukkha, this Dukkha or that Dukkha, because everything is just Dukkha to you only, Everything is just Dukkha only. You got no time for you to go and which Dukkha and that Dukkha. And also, even at this time also, when the yogi go through this area of different modes of Dukkha, then the mind is going through a lot of oppression. A lot of oppression right now. Now, let us start off with this one. Before we start off with this, for those who are not reaching this deeper aspect of insight yet, I would like to remind you all is that when you're able to reach there, that means your mind is ready for it, Right now, if afterwards when you hear I'm talking this Dukkha and that Dukkha, then after that, Bhante, vipassana, enough for me already. I'm not trying to discourage you at all. I'm trying to open up for you to see the different types of Dukkha so that behind it, we can change our perception, our wrong perception, so that we can able to go forward until we able to realize Nibbana. If you don't go through all these things, then too bad samsara will still be around. You'll still go rolling in samsara. So we have to pass through these things. And again here, depending on how strong will be your wisdom factor, one thing, and also how strong or how weak is your attachment, your craving. Because your craving, attachment, the more that you attach, the more you do not want to see all these things. But if you have a very strong faculties, that especially the wisdom that you can able to penetrate them through, then fine. Now, in the knowledge of fearfulness, actually the knowledge of fearfulness, I just put it there. But the actual translation is usually they'll translate as knowledge of appearance as fear or as terror via upatthana jnana. Jnana is knowledge. Upatthana means arising or establishment or appearance. For here, bhaya means fear or terror. So, what did you see? What is being appeared as fearful to you? Now, what is being fearful to you is that the objects that you are noted, that you are noticing at that moment of time, becomes, you're kind of like terrified with it because of the knowledge at number 5 is the knowledge of dissolution. Because everything that you noted, it all keep on disappearing and breaking up. We keep on breaking up and breaking up and breaking up. There's no respite, there's no stopping, there's no everything that you love, everything that you like, and all the pleasant feelings and all the piti, all the sukha and all the lights and everything. Because all of them you noted, it go into dissolution. Everything goes into dissolution. Everything goes into impermanence. Therefore, before that, when we are not meditating, we thought that all these beautiful things, happiness, as they are what we are seeking for. But this time, when it comes to the knowledge of dissolution and knowledge number 5, then everything is just breaking away. And long enough when you see this breaking away, and that is where you find that there's nothing for you to hold on to. In fact, that is not only for you to hold on, but the nature of everything is just terrified to you, as if like you keep on falling and falling and falling, and there's nothing for you to hold on anymore. There's nothing for you to hold on. That's why there's a nature of terror, of fear that it maybe spring up inside you. And at this time, the yogis sometimes may felt that they are doing something wrong in their meditation. In fact, that this is part of the knowledge. In fact, that this is the nature of oppressiveness. When you are looking at things are keep on disappearing, keep on dissolution, then when the mind stays onto it, noting it, it feels very uneasy. Fearful is there, or the terror is there. And then you feel that there's a kind of like everything is not stable at all. Then that's why it appears to you as fearfulness. Not the type of fear because you fear of, usually outside we talk about fearing of ghosts, fearing of this and that. This one is fearing of the nature of, because of its changing. And then because of its changing, because of its arising and passing away, and then this fearfulness, this appearance of terror is a mode of dukkha, is an aspect of dukkha. So a yogi goes through that. And then the more that you notice those things, the more that you notice this changing, this arising and passing away, and the more you notice it, the more that you felt that it's so difficult for you to bear. Difficult to bear. And everything like that you notice it already, it's kind of like you feel it as so miserable, inside there. And around here, your meditation continuity of your mindfulness and your courage, your confidence, all will be tested to the maximum. All will be tested, and to see whether you can able to withstand the true nature of dukkha. The moment you sit down, the moment you pick up your mindfulness in the because this time, it's not like when you're beginning, you sit down, after some time only, you go through sleepiness, thinking, half an hour later, then only you got something for you to see. At this stage, yogis are not like that. The moment they start sitting down, or the moment they start paying attention, all the objects is already spring up and is ready for them to be noted already. So all they need to do is just put the mind there, and everything, the insight will spring up. So in other words, the moment your mindfulness touch the object, you already see oppression already. You see miserableness in your whatever object that is going through. For example, like like maybe like number 7, that you see your rising, falling. Initially when we begin the meditation, you notice that the rising, falling, when you ask you, is there any dukkha there? Is there any pain there? What pain? What dukkha? What problem? Nothing, ma. Or even if you do the in-breath, out-breath, if you do the in-breath, out-breath as a vipassana object, and then you notice in-breath, out-breath, in-breath, out-breath. So nothing, there's just neutral. There's no pain, there's no pleasantness also. It's just neutral. What is there to be? What dukkha is there? So at that stage of where they come to the knowledge of misery or danger and so on, then that time, the idea you thought in the past, you thought about, oh, my beautiful breath lah, my this and that lah, all become erased, because every time you notice your breath is like twisting inside there. Twisting and pulling and pressing and so on. And then every time you breathe, every time there's a rising and passing away, in the breath, you feel that there's as if like there's a pin that's poking you and everything that's doing it to you. Or even you watch your rising, falling, as if like somebody is twisting the laundry there, laundry twist and twist and twist and twist, and you thought that it's going to stop, it twists some more for you to see. Then as if like you open up your eyes, look at your stomach, nothing. When you stop meditation, completely all the dukkha disappear. You just breathe normally. The rising, falling, just fine. Nothing much at all. Everything just go back to what is so-called normal, your so-called normal back again. But the moment you heighten all your mindfulness again, you heighten it back, every twisting, every pulling of all the objects you thought in the past are so easy that this time your mind has already changed. All the idea about beautiful breath, beautiful this and beautiful, all totally erased. So it's deep. It's deep. Right now, I ask you, your breath give you any problem right now? Got any dukkha right now here? No. Got any dukkha in the stomach? No. I mean, rising, falling, not your stomach ache, but rising, falling. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. You don't feel it at all. Because that is what I meant, is if it's very deep, the dukkha. The dukkha is very deep. Until you can able to heighten up your mindfulness, you're going to deepen in your mindfulness, then you actually see those things. But then it's not going to let you go yet. The dukkha is going to tear you apart. See whether you can able to this one or not. Now, when it comes to the knowledge of disenchantment and disgust, it's even worse. It's like you don't want to meditate. You don't want to walk. You don't want to come back to retreat. You want to get out from the retreat. You want to ask the teacher, pay respect, that's it. Tell the teacher, I want to go back already. I cannot take it anymore. It will pressure you. it will do a lot of things to you. Yeah. So at this point, as if like there's no respite from meditation. Even if you walk, yeah, the moment you start walking, initially there's no pain, nothing. But I mean, in the earlier stage of development, there's walking is quite a easy thing. But at this somewhere 7, 8, 9, or 10, then even your feelings on the leg become very tightened up, very pressure, so on. Your mind doesn't want to meditate. The mind doesn't want to pay attention. But you have to raise up the courage, you've got to raise up the confidence and just have to pull through and try to finish even that 1 hour. Yeah. So this time, even the 1 hour sitting is so difficult for number of yogis. If they go through those things, it's very difficult to go through. Before that, you can able to sit 1 hour, 1.5 hours, 2 hours, so so easy. So easy, You thought that whole my meditation from here on, I can sit 2 hours already. Next time, all the time I can do that already. Wait you come here, waiting for you. Sometimes even 15 minutes or so, you thinking of getting up already. Yeah. So it's not this time. It's not the buttock pain. This time is not the pain type of thing, the painful type of thing. This is just your normal rising, falling only, just a normal in-breath, out-breath only, just your normal sitting, touching only. But it's everything give you such a difficult time inside there. So, for you to go and find out, so maybe I'm just too dramatic only. But sometimes what you read in the book, the yogi cannot sit and so on. You read, you don't have that feeling. Wait till I talk, maybe you have a little bit more understanding. But when you actually go through it, then you'll know for yourself. But anyway, when it comes to this dukkha here, all this dukkha, it's a very difficult to know which stage you are in, because everything is just dukkha. It go from one dukkha to another dukkha and more dukkha, sometimes less dukkha and more dukkha. The morning you wake up is already dukkha. Eating also dukkha. Sit also dukkha. The moment you start paying attention, it's already dukkha. So that's the nature of it. Now, the desire for deliverance is because of this knowledge of desire for deliverance. It's where sometimes yogis have the genuine wish to truly get out of this dukkha. It's not that you want to seek pleasantness, like earlier on earlier part when I talk about the when you watch the pain and all these things, you want to you want to know what the time is. Because why? Because you want to seek something pleasant to get out of the pain, or you are thinking of moving your buttock here and there. You just want to get out of it and just don't want to see the pain. This time is different. This time you want to get out of the pain, but then you are getting out and wishing for nibbana already. And wishing for a desire for deliverance from all this dukkha. It's a very genuine aspect from the yogi, because you see so much of dukkha within the span of a short time. If you truly do your meditation properly, within a span of short time, then you will keep on having that idea is that you just want to get out of this cycle of birth and rebirth. You want to, and the moment that you think about all this dukkha, then the what we call the introspection, or not introspection, the inference of the past, the present, and the future, we're going to have all this dukkha. And if you don't get out of this dukkha, then there's always, we're going to be bombarded by all this oppression again and again, and you will not stop until you have that desire for deliverance, the wish to get out from it. Then only the genuine state of nibbana arises. Now, a lot of you sometimes, like last Thursday, for example, last Thursday you asked about a question. One of you asked the question about, okay, all this samsara thing, and then finally, the only thing that we have to do is get out of this samsara and realize nibbana. That is one of the question. Now, it's easy for us to talk about it. Easy when we have the understanding of the Dhamma, that we felt that the everyday type of life is dukkha and so on. We want to get out of samsara. But the thing is that after tomorrow again, you completely forgot about it. Then you makan lah, have party lah, go out lah. Everything you do, all the things again, and you're happy. Then after that, when you sit down, you got nothing to do. You think about nibbana again. I want to get out of samsara. I want to get out of samsara. But no, it's good. Not to say that it's not good. I mean, it's good, but it's still not really genuine. It's not really truly genuine until when you have a deepest aspect of your noting mind at the highest level, and you can able to see every phenomenon of your mental or your body, every arising and passing away of your mind, or even your aspects of your body. When that time you truly want to get out of this arising and passing away, and then that time the genuineness of the the genuineness for nibbana is very strong. That means you're going to get up your courage, you're going to push everything through. So that is called the desire for deliverance. So it's dukkha, it's big dukkha. Now, it does not end there, the dukkha. And when it comes to the knowledge of reflection or re-observation, this one is even more jialat. Even more difficult, even more oppressive. Maybe we have to what do you call that? The word reflection, re-observation. We got to elaborate it a little bit more. What does it reflect? What does it re-observe? That means it re-observe back on the anicca, dukkha, anatta. Re-observe back anicca, dukkha, anatta. Now, when you say anicca, dukkha, anatta, re-observe, how does it re-observe the whole thing back again? Now, for some yogis, re-observation means that it can able to re-observe again, starting all the way back from the first insight. Because the first insight is anatta. Second, then you can able to go to the next insight, which is also anatta. Then after that, when you come to the third insight, there's anicca, dukkha, anatta. After that, you go fourth insight, there's anicca, fifth insight, anicca, and then you go to the 6, 7, 8, then it will be dukkha again. So in other words, re-observation, it re-observe on anicca, dukkha, anatta, but it also means that it can able to go back again to re-observe all your other insights. Then sometimes yogi may thought that while you're meditating, after a while, how come I go back to the knowledge of like discrimination of this mind and body? Like, hey, how come I go back again to just rising and falling, and just the mind that is noting the rising and falling? Separation, this discrimination. How come I go back? I thought that I have already go quite far already. How come I I go back there again. And sometimes yogi, when they observe these type of things, they thought that they have digressed. They thought that, "Ay, say got to restart all over again, Bhante. Si liao la." No. Not, it's not. It's part of insights. It's part of the development of insight. Sometimes when you go into deeper insights, you may see the earlier insights that is repeating again. And while you're seeing that, those things, it becomes part of the new insight. Okay? Say for example, okay. Let me use the word again. Put the word in participant. Okay. Now, let's say at the knowledge number 10, what does it see is that it sees knowledge number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's say. You see all of them. Then, because you see all of them becomes the knowledge number 10. Okay? All of them becomes the knowledge number 10. Because, why? Because it's re-observing everything in the past. Not because that you are digressing. It's part of the progress that you look back again, everything all over again. Yeah? Now, one thing about this reflection or re-observation for some yogis, and if their wisdom power, especially their wisdom power, is sharp and deep, then they can able to distinguish each and every insight. Which one is insight number 1? Which one is insight number 2? Which one is insight number 3? Which one is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? They can able to distinguish them. And at the time they can know that how far they have gone and what more to go. If their wisdom is sharp. But again, these people with a sharp wisdom, it's far and few in between. Mostly the one that is good in concentration, or the faith power also is deep, as strong, that you can able to go so far. But the wisdom power one, you can able to distinguish insight more clearly. Not that those have seen it, not those with not so strong in their wisdom power, not that they cannot see those things. Those with lacking of wisdom power that's strong, they still see all the insight, but more or less everything is like jumble up here and there. They don't able to have that because of the nature of the wisdom. We can able to separate one after another. That is the beauty of wisdom power. You can able to distinguish a lot of things. Each and every faculty, they have their own power, their own this one. But the wisdom power is that they're able to distinguish the different insights that they have gone through, which is good. So when they go through this thing, when they go through the knowledge of re-observation or reflection, sometimes it's very difficult for me to translate, and even with the one word to translate, but there's a lot of description that we have to go through. So yogis go through all this anicca, dukkha again and again and again and again. And this time it begins to strengthen the perception of anicca, dukkha, anatta. And here the dukkha aspect will become the more prominent aspect compared to the anicca and dukkha. Anicca and anatta. But the dukkha one is much more stronger at this moment. So in other words, the sankhara dukkha at this time will be at its maximum, will be at this one. In other words also, your pain will be truly magnified. Your unpleasant feeling will be truly magnified. Your impermanence, when you look at everything that is arising, passing away, changing, are also completely magnified. And yet at the same time, your arising and passing away, the oppressiveness are also completely magnified. So in other words, all your three dukkha are right there at that moment of time. So you have to go through. You just have to go through. After that, you have to have the courage to go through it. As I said, while at this time, your walking meditation are still very much important, because when you go through difficulties in your meditation, when you go through difficulties in your meditation, especially concerned with a lot of dukkha, make sure you do your walking meditation properly, because noting that all these different aspects of the dukkha, you need a lot of effort, mental effort. The dukkha will drain your effort, whether physically and also mentally. It will drain. And it means, in other words, when it drains it away, then your mindfulness also drops. That's why when it drops, your faith also drops, everything drops, your courage also disappears. So in order for us to maintain them, so make sure that you do your walking meditation thoroughly, properly, even at the deeper aspect of it. Don't think that when you go into a deeper aspect of insight, then we forget about the walking meditation. No. So this walking meditation can be very helpful. Not only is it helpful, but if you pay attention to the walking meditation at that time, you will see dukkha in a different mode, again in a different aspect compared to a sitting meditation. Sitting meditation is that you're going to see in a certain way, but when it comes into the walking meditation, it opens up a whole new avenue of different aspect of dukkha. Still dukkha, but different aspect of dukkha. And it's quite interesting because it gives you a wide variety of understanding, and therefore it becomes very helpful to abandon the wrong perception of pleasure, because that's the whole nature of Dukkhānupassanā. So it has to be properly done, and you have to go through them. So make sure that you don't be too discouraged by all this dukkha. All the thing that you think of the dukkha in your past, maybe it's just aging, sickness, death. Yeah, that's one thing, that's one thing. But when it comes into the vipassana dukkha, you're going to see a lot of dukkha, and everything is within this just mind and body. And as I said, again, if you just stop the meditation, if you stop completely the meditation at that moment, all the dukkha just completely disappear. It's just all covered up by our perception, covered up by our views, covered up by everything all over again. It's just covered, and you don't see. Even right now, if I'm not meditating right now, I don't see the dukkha at all. Nothing. Until I go into meditation again, build up my mindfulness, everything, then all the dukkha will start springing up again. So it's just like the nature of the dukkha is deep, not just here, pain there only. Now, this is the following talks, we're going to talk about anatta. But before we talk about anatta, still we got 10 minutes more to go. I want to talk about something a little bit more. This one. Dukkhānupassanā versus the imbalance of the five faculties. This one also is important for yogis, especially if you want to go for a long retreat. Because this one, it can look like dukkha, but it can be a big problem. Now, when we say we are doing Dukkhānupassanā, all right, when we are talking about Dukkhānupassanā, it means that your mindfulness, your noting mind, your concentration, and so on. Your faculties, other words, that is the nature of the noting mind itself, are at the optimum level. So at the optimum level, you can see all the dukkha, painful sensation, and so on. Although at certain time, you may overshoot it, you bring it back again, and you can able to notice all the pain and all the difficulty arising, passing away, the oppression and pulling and so on, everything. That means you are doing right. The Dukkhānupassanā, you are doing right. Correct, perfect. But there will be at times certain aspect of the pain, especially certain pain, may not be good for you to pay attention to. This is because that the nature of your mind is already go into imbalance already. The faculties has gone into imbalance. Now, one of the faculties, let's say, one of the 5 faculties, what are the 5 faculties? Confidence, saddha, and then you have effort, you have mindfulness, you have concentration, and you have wisdom. These 5 things, okay? So 5 of them must be in balance. Now, if while you're meditating, let's say this time your effort are getting too strong and too much, you're getting ahead of the other 4, let's say. Now, when it gets strong, when you're getting too much, that too will create all kinds of pain and soreness and everything also. It also will create all those type of things. But this time, your state of mind is not at the optimum level. The noting mind is not at the optimum level. The noting mind is imbalanced right now. That means the effort is too much, and because of the effort is too much, it creates a lot of painful sensation and painful thing. And you thought that because it's a painful sensation, you want to bring the mind and to note that painful sensation, and yet at the same time, your noting mind is in balance, then the whole thing is going to go haywire, even worse. Because that time, your Dukkhānupassanā, you're not noting the Dukkhānupassanā already, because first of all, the noting mind is not at the optimum level. It's not at the balance level. And when it's not balanced, and then the dukkha and the pain is so strong, and then here you're going to, and then it can make a yogi to have, like, if you do it long enough, unknowingly, then you can come out with a lot of migraine, a lot of physical tension, and as if like every time you come into a retreat, you go back, it's not more insight, but more migraine, more this and more that. And that is terrible. Because after 2 or 3 times, if you do like that, you go back with all this migraine, you're going to stop vipassana already. Because that's what a number of yogis, they seen it in the past. I've seen that too in the past, other yogis. I too go through all those things, and you will go through those things also. And all the yogis that I've interviewed before in the past, somehow or another, their imbalance of the faculties is going to be there. So if you do not know how to take care of that faculties to be balanced, then it can create all kinds of problem. Then you will thought that, oh, you still go into it some more, then you koya. You're going to explode inside there. So when you come into Dukkhānupassanā, okay, you come into Dukkhānupassanā, make sure that your faculties of your mind is at this optimum level. It is, you can able to notice them, you can able to see changes and so on. If things are changing, although it's painful, then fine. You are still you are still noting. You are still noting. It's not easy to explain it in so many words. even it's even more difficult that when you're actually doing it, you got to be like learn to feel it at that moment of time, whether you're supposed to note it or you're supposed to rebalance back the faculties. That is whole part of the whole experience of meditation. It's part of your experience, and the more that you're able to do it, the more you know how to do it. Just like cooking only, you just know how much salt you want to put, or how much sugar you want to put, how much of the spice you want to put. You cannot put too much, you cannot put too less. And all these things come with experience. So to Vipassana also the same thing. The changing of the nature of how you note that object, when you are supposed to note it, when to rebalance the faculties, when you're supposed to carry on to keep it going, and when to rebalance. All these things come with experience of the meditation. Although right now we cannot talk about the faculties and so on, because if you're going to go into faculties again, there's going to be a lot. Then you're gonna a lot of to talk about. But anyway, on the faculties, I talked about it somewhere in the last year, somewhere around maybe Vasa time, I think, when I talk about the Noble Eightfold Path already. Then is the fourth noble truth. Then falls under mindfulness, fall under effort, fall under concentration. Somewhere around there, I talk about the faculties, and it's important for us to know the faculties. So this is the Dukkhānupassanā. What else do I have for you? All right, nothing else. Okay. So next week, not next week. Sorry, today is Monday. So on Thursday, we're going to go into Anattā-nupassana. Anattā-nupassana, and we're going to elaborate a little bit on. I don't know, maybe on latent defilements, different types of latent defilements, how they come up and so on, and how these latent defilements, and connected with our different anupassana, different, all the 18 principles inside, how they kind of like abandon it, how they come up, how they spring up, and so on. You just wait for Thursday. I'll talk about that. Maybe I'll talk about the different types of atta, also different type of self, and so on, before we talk about the actual Anattā-nupassana. But anyway, just before we go, I suddenly I remember something. I go back to this one. You can see. Hey, wait, Hold on. Hold on. Let me share the screen again. Okay. Now, just now we talked about something on fear. All right. Sorry. Something on danger. Something on the desire for deliverance. Reflection. This also is mentioned in part of the 18 principle of insight. Now let me go back to this one. Now where is it? Let me go back. Hold on. Where's my chart? Okay, here. You see, one who contemplates or notes impermanent, one abandons the perception of permanence, nicca-sanya. So we talk about dukkha right now, it abandons the perception of pleasure, sukha-sanya. Now, we talk about a little bit on nibbida, disenchantment. This is the what insight already. This is the 7 insight, 8 insight. Then later part, we didn't talk about viraga. Viraga, we're going to equanimity a little bit. Then we talk about a little bit also on this one there, danger also. Then we also talk about a bit on reflection, patisankha also. All these two are extension of dukkha. So if you contemplate on the danger, the different modes of dukkha, the oppressiveness of it, then it misinterpreting due to reliance. Reliance means here stability, your mind, because the nature of in our life, we always rely on our concept, for example, rely on something that we are so used to, rely on our health, rely on this one and that thing, then now everything is going into arising and passing away. So we are not so relying on it anymore. We slowly clear away from this one. Non-reflection means, again here, you don't go back into seeing anicca, dukkha, anatta. This is the nature of non-reflection. Maybe later part in a somewhere in the future, we're going to go through a little bit on all these things again. In any way, we talk about it on this a little bit more. So when we talk about anatta, then we're going to talk about other things a little bit because all of them are interconnected. Okay, so that's it for tonight.